It's Blue Monday here on the Blue Room. I am Matt Jones. Joining me as ever is Dave Downey. Very much looking forward to chatting about the Blues. I'm looking forward to the Carabao Cup quarter-final tomorrow. If you listen to the post-match on Saturday, uh, you might have some doubts as to whether Dave is looking forward to it or not. But Dave, it was your birthday yesterday. Happy birthday. How are you doing?
I was doing okay until it took you about 2 seconds to throw in that I wasn't as confident as everybody else. I was going to
That that I mean, I'll let you finish, but that's not really what happened, is it? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I started my birthday was really good. Even better after getting that win against Burnley, where probably one of our best performances of the season. But I think we've started to keep on saying that most weeks. So yeah, and I think I was working out. I've only had that happen once in the last 10 years, where Everton have won in the game before it's gone on my birthday. So yeah, it felt a bit more nice than it normally does, to be honest with you, because when I have my birthday on the 17th, it's a really crap day to have it. 8 days before Christmas, half the people just give you one present for both. Whereas if your birthday's in the middle of the summer, it's happy days, isn't it? You're gonna get a summer present and a and a Christmas present as well. So no, it was good. It was good, and more importantly, because of the Blues, really.
Yeah, as July birthday, Everton never ruin it unless like they sell someone really good on the day or something like that. It's
Bankrupt.
yeah. Yeah, it's like it's protected from Everton. Like I think the thing that usually happens on my birthday is the British Grand Prix on, but yeah, Everton just stay well away.
You ever been to it?
No, no, it's the most
Yeah, it's
boring
not.
sport in the world, isn't it? Yeah.
I know, mate. It's not my cup of tea. Definitely not.
Yeah, especially now. Anyway, listen, let's talk about Everton. We sort of said, obviously, people listen to the show frequently will know that we typically do like a look back at the weekend and pick a player in a moment and stuff like that. But we have got a game tomorrow, so we thought we'd sort of tailor our focus a little bit more onto that. How are you feeling about it now? Because obviously, joking a little bit with you there about what you were saying on Saturday. But now, listen, recording this 7 o'clock on Monday. In about 24 hours' time, we'll be getting ready to kick off in the quarterfinals of a cup competition. I'm dead excited, like really excited, really up for this. I'm going to be chugging Carabao all day tomorrow in preparation. What about you? Where's your temperature for this game at the moment?
I've slightly changed. I'm not going to say completely changed because this is most of the debate that we had on post match, wasn't it? Really, when we were talking about this, the games to come more so than the one four in a row, which hasn't happened since it was said in 2002. It didn't actually happen if you discount ironically the League Cup. So we won 6 games in a row, Premier League, all 1-0. And the first one was 2-1 when Rooney scored his magical goal against Arsenal. We won the following 5 games 1-0. But in the middle of all of them, we drew with Newcastle away and went out on penalties of the League Cup. So I guess that it's a 6 game run of victories in the Premier League, if you don't want to count that one. But that's a really boring stat that I've revealed there. But yeah, in terms of tomorrow, um, yeah, I'm a lot more excited than I was because after I saw what happened on Saturday in the other games, gave me a little bit more of a boost towards the clubs that were in and around, which is exactly what you and Les said on post match. There's nothing really to be concerned about in finishing below three of them. We've got the 10 points boxed off now. It feels a hell of a lot more positive. And by that, I mean, what I said, wasn't it, Matt, on Saturday night? I was talking about, oh, we still need to keep the momentum going in the league. Say if we go out to Fulham, or say if we get through to the semis and have to play Liverpool twice, I'd be more concerned about the sort of run of form we're going to stick with in the Premier League. I've changed that. I've changed that quite a lot. And who knows? I mean, West Ham and Moyes are going to Anfield as well. He's due a win there at some point in his life, isn't he? So
Yeah.
yeah, and I think Fulham's a funny side. Fulham are a
Mm.
different side this season. They've won the last two. Sorry, 5-0 twice, and then got beat 3-0 by Newcastle, for the ridiculous sending off. Be interesting to see how Marco Silva handles this with themselves personally. But I think we've got enough to get past them, no doubt.
Yeah, it's really interesting to think because like I've been thinking a lot about what we were talking about on Saturday in regards to that, and Like I do kind of get.
Slagging me off, you mean? Just
Oh
slagging me
yeah,
off.
I've been slagging you off to everybody. Yeah.
You bollocks, I think was the first message, you chatting bollocks.
Yeah, you were those to be fair. But like I do get where you're coming from in all seriousness in the sense that like I feel like if we were in this situation, listen, we haven't fluked our way to a League Cup quarter final or potentially a semi final, but say like we got to this position under like Lampard or Benitez, like I'd feel like if we did get to a semi final and like lose or like against anyone or against Liverpool, like maybe that could derail us a little bit in the league. But I just think that like now it's you look at the squad. Like I think the biggest concern is the squad physically getting stretched for me. Like that's the one concern I've sort of got going forward. But I think it's been encouraging the players have come in and done well. But I think from like a mentality point of view, you only have to look back to 6 weeks ago when we went to Anfield. We went down to 10 men early on. We got swindled a bit by the referee in that game as well with the non-Canate red card. And then obviously we go on to lose that game. And look at how good we've been since then. Like, we've lost once to in the league to Man United. We've won every away game in a row since then. We've beaten Chelsea and Newcastle. We've had 10 points taken off us and responded amazingly well. And it just feels like, and obviously this is hard to sort of, say for definite or quantify because it's intangible, but like the mentality and the belief in this side just feels like it's better and it's sturdier, and the manager sort of instilled a lot more. Just I don't know what the right like resilience, I suppose, isn't it? Like this team is resilient, so like I even if I was worried about us going out of the cup in the next round and then falling off the wagon completely in the Premier League and going on a terrible run, I'd still want us in the semi-final. But like even the prospect of losing a semi-final to anyone really is not really daunting to me. But I'm not really thinking like that. I'm thinking like, this is a team now that's beaten two pretty good sides at home in its last two games pretty comprehensively, and has won 4 on the spin away from home as well. Like, why couldn't why couldn't they get through and potentially beat a lower league team in Borough or Port Vale? Why, Chelsea and Newcastle's the other quarter final, isn't it? We just sent both of them back in the space of 4 days at Goodison Park, like comprehensively twice. Would either of them relish coming to play us in a semi final? And like even the Reds to a degree, and listen, I'm sure any of them watching the listeners, they should be going, yeah, they'd probably want to play us, but like, watching them on Sunday, were you really looking at that thinking we couldn't go to Anfield and do what United did? Like, I'm not really daunted by any of them. And if we're not in this to go and play in semi-finals and try and get to Wembley and lift silver things up in the air in front of our fans, like what are we doing? Is it all about just trying to avoid relegation? I'm all in, and I think I'll be going all out for tomorrow about 𝗖𝗿𝗄𝗍.
It was really, really interesting. Quite a fun conversation we had on post match, and obviously when we went back round to the Denby to talk as well, about the sort of mentality that these sort of little things cause you to have. The 4 wins on the bounce, and I'll be honest, that we've known each other for over a decade. It's very rare, if at all, that I've seen you as confident as you are right now. You'll disagree with me there, because there've been plenty of occasions when we thought we were going to buy and win the league when Moshiri came, all that sort of thing. Anyway, I think I understand where you're coming from, because when you win four games on the run, forget how many on the run, but play the way we have, you get to a position that's quite natural in order to say, bring anyone on. I don't care who we're playing. If we play like we do, we'll get through that game. At least we'll get a draw. We'll play well enough to get the result we need out of that performance. I think I've been a lot more cautious of that, given the 2 teams we've got going up in the league, and that's Spurs and City. Is it Spurs and City?
Yeah, Spurs on Saturday away, and then City at home on the 27th.
Yeah. Now, that to me, that's why I'm sort of torn in between this, because if we don't take anything from those 2 games, the likelihood is we're still in a relegation fight, so to speak. Now, I'm a little bit contradictory there, because when I said we got that win against Burnley, I was like, that sort of means if we get beat by Spurs and City, then we'll generally be okay anyway, given how many points we are ahead of the relegation zone. That might well be the case. But going back to what you said about this, in the in that sort of mindset you feel towards going into these semi-finals, I mean, when they're going to be, as well as I don't think they've been confirmed on what dates they're going to be, the semi-finals. They will,
No.
obviously, when
I
these
mean, and listen as well, like, this, don't want to discount Fulham, like you said, they've come to Goodison like the last 3 times and beat us, haven't they? Like,
Yeah.
it's not like, I think all I'm saying is, like, in view of that, I'd be going all out tomorrow to try our best to win the game. But I don't think it's a given by any means tomorrow. Like, they are a good side who've got some great results recently, and have slapped us about a bit at Goodison Park in the last few visits. So it's not taken for granted and looking beyond them by any means.
And yeah, I think that's an important point to talk about, Matt, because I think many people will do that. I don't want to be slacking our listeners off, but I know for fact, many friends, I've got many Blues who know, they've made that sort of assumption that we will get past Fulham quite easily, and they're automatically thinking of what's going on in the semi, who we get playing Liverpool. I'm guilty of doing that myself as well. The other thing I've been discussing today on Twitter was quite interesting, aside from what we've just spoken about, is I think we hinted at this as well recently, maybe on post-match, where, do you think we'd hit what we're at now in the momentum we've got now had we not had the deduction? Now, to throw these quarterfinals and potential to hopefully get to a cup final, I wonder as well that it'd be as important as it is in this way it is now, that it's become, like you've just discussed there. And I think it's really, really interesting, the mentality of various fans. So every single person, I'd say 99% of people who replied to me when I asked that question were saying, yes, we'd absolutely be in the position we are. We'd be up there battling for European places and whatnot. I'm not so sure on that, because Everton generally don't play that way, do they? Everton's not that typical style.
Like, it's obviously impossible to say, isn't it? But like,
Yeah,
the performances were not too dissimilar, were they, to the last 4 games? You think of some of the results we'd had, and we didn't necessarily think.
you mean pre the 10 points?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like, you look at going to Villa, winning, Brentford, winning there. There were games where we've played really well and necessarily got the result, but I don't think there's much in the performance. I think what we've done since the deduction is just be more clinical in front of goal. But like, is that something necessarily that comes about because we've had points taken off us? Are players more clinical because of that? Like, I don't know if it's just like a coincidence or not really. But like, the underlying numbers, and I'm sure if Mick had a look at it in detail, like, would seem to suggest that this was on the card. It's not like we've had the points deduction all of a sudden, like the performances have gone from here to all the way up here. Like, there's not been too much difference, has there?
I think it'd be fair to say there's been some sort of impact, because, and only in that regard, because I think it'd be really, really easy after that 3-0 loss to Man United, you could foresee Everton going into a really difficult situation where they couldn't get anywhere near the amount of points that we've gone and got, winning 4 of the 5 since the deduction was announced. And going forward as well, I think that it's felt to me, and I don't want to put a bit of a downside on how we've played, but there's such a simplicity on how we played. And again, we've spoken quite extensively over what he starts to do with the team that he's putting out there. And I think it's really easy when you're at this stage to overcomplicate things. When you start thinking that you're going into a cup quarter final and you're thinking, right, okay, what team do I go for? And I remember one of the things I specifically felt when Moyes was there, I was furious over him putting a second 11 out every single season, despite the fact we were a mid-table side. We're near the relegation fight, but he put a team out that you think he's not even half-arsed about this. The only time he was when that infamous semi-final of the 2 legs against Chelsea. That was the only time he put a first 11 out. Everything else is like, yeah, it's all right if we win, but I don't mind because we've got another game against Team X the next week. It's interesting that Dyche has gone the other way with this, because you think about the way in which we've gone about the games. It was Villa who we beat away first, wasn't it? Yeah, Villa away first, you go and beat them.
With Doncaster, didn't we? We had Doncaster, that horrific first half, which feels like a million miles ago now, doesn't it?
Doncaster and Beto's world-class goal.
Yeah.
And then it was Burnley at home who we beat 3-0. So, you look at that run, anyone who wins a trophy, I don't care if they say, it's been amazing that we've got to this certain stage. you do need a bit of luck with who you draw. I was glad 2 of those 3 was away from home at the time, to be honest with you.
I'm not being
before
funny,
But
Dave. Villa away is the hardest draw you could possibly get in anything at the moment.
do you know what? I was arguing again with somebody else about this today, and I was like, look at the 11 they put out there, and it was some kid they've got up front. Watkins was on the
Duran,
bench. Sorry.
Duran was it? John
Yeah,
Duran,
yeah.
yeah.
And then he had Watkins on the bench. And as soon as I seen that, I thought this isn't Villa's best 11 if they've got Watkins on the bench, because he's been unreal this season, hasn't he? Let's face it, he's been a top quality striker for them, and a big part of why they're now at the moment astonishingly in the title race. And then I was having this chat, and somebody completely blew me away in what they said. They were like, "Well, Watkins came on at half time. You look at the form we were in. I think we'd lost our opening 3 or 4 games at the start of this season, and then we went to Villa and won in that League Cup." The immediate thing you think without watching it is, "Oh, that's because Villa aren't arsed because they've had a good start." But then you think, now the record they've had at home, that's a big thing that we've done to go there and win that match. So again, if you're looking closer to what we're going to do in quarterfinals of a League Cup, I mean, it does sort of make you think this is our day. I mean, it's like going back to the old years of, we won 33, we won 66, are we going to go and win 99? All of those feelings start coming towards you when other stuff starts to fall into place. So, but yeah, I think going back to what you said initially, Matt, I think the Fulham is much more difficult than many of us think.
Yeah, like the 10-point deduction is just part of the narrative arc for the season, isn't it? It's like
Didn't
we're
we say
down there, and then like we're gonna just storm up and win a
yeah.
trophy, defy everyone.
Well, we said obviously we always have regular chats about the content we put out and all that, and I think it was after the other day saying to you, should we start writing a book for this season now?
Oh my god. Yeah, I think Dyson himself didn't he? Probably by 4,
Yeah,
based on the last
absolutely.
year on its own. But yeah, just sort of like looking ahead to the game tomorrow. Then obviously, I think there's a few doubts injury wise, isn't there? I think 𝗖𝗿𝗄𝗽 feels 50-50. 𝗍𝗂𝗍𝗄 probably the same. You've got Branthwaite back from his ban, and you've got 𝗍𝗂𝗍𝗄𝗽 back from his ban as well. Um, how how different do you think it'll be from the weekend? I suppose like we all kind of know what the 11 has been in the Premier League. Not discounting the weekend. We haven't played a back 5 much. What do you think he does with the team? Like I'm sort of looking at like this game. And I think this game is the priority, but I think you've got to look at it in the context of we've got a game Saturday, then is it Wednesday, and then we play on the Saturday again. So we've got 4 games in the space of about 11, 12 days, is it?
The old Christmas list, isn't it?
I'm sort of thinking like 𝗬𝗏𝗯 probably can't start all of them. I don't think. I just think you've got to look after him a bit. Like I'd love it if he could, but I think Beto's got to start one of those games. So you've got to think about that. If there's any doubt over the 𝗖𝗄𝗽 and 𝗍𝗂𝗍𝗄𝗽, I think as much as I think this game is massive, I don't think you really want to rush them back, do you? I don't think Dyche has really shown himself to be a manager who rushes people back, as we've seen with 𝗬𝗏𝗯, so maybe those 2 miss out. So I think it's going to be really interesting. I think Branthwaite obviously comes back in, doesn't he? That kind of goes without saying. But I think it's what happens around him, which is it's going to be really interesting for me. Like it wouldn't surprise me if Beto played at Spurs at the weekend, to be honest, and Dom got the nod tomorrow.
It's a big question. This at one point, I was thinking back to Burnley away. I'm thinking, you just start with this same 11, and then like you
Branthwaite's
mentioned,
got to play. Like he's been
against
arguably our best
Fulham.
player.
Against Fulham.
Yeah.
I mean, this goes back to our debate, doesn't it? Really, about what's more important, the Premier League games coming up.
So you're thinking saving for the weekend as opposed to
I'm
not
thinking
playing him in our best 11.
It's very dependent on the opposition we've got. I'd absolutely be with you if we didn't have Spurs away, then City at home, because I do think it's essential we get at least a point against those 2. I mean, most sides would often go to Spurs and lose. Most sides playing Man City.
Would you not take winning tomorrow and getting nothing from those two Premier League games?
That's some $1 million question, that, to be honest.
Because we're not. Whatever happens, we're not going to be in the relegation zone. If we lose both those games 5-0, we'll and listen, teams at the bottom aren't going to win both games over Christmas, are they? Like, I think the worst case scenario if we lose those 2 games going into Wolves, I think we'll probably still be about 4 points clear of the relegation zone.
Wolves is away as well.
Wolves is away, yeah. Which is, I mean, does it really matter now with this team?
Oh, mate, do you know what? I'm going to throw it out here because you said to me you reckon we're safe already.
I think we are, yeah. Yeah.
I think that's
I don't.
insane.
I think this team. This is a team that should be. Was it ninth in the league? Like, and like we're talking about ninth in a league where the 3 promoted teams are probably the worst ever to come up.
Forest are into it now as well, which I think makes
Palace are in it as well. I think
Palace, yeah. Bournemouth are doing all right, aren't they? I think that's probably getting with like the top 6, the bottom 6. Sorry, I think that gives me a little bit more confidence, but I think I don't know, mate. It's such a difficult thing to handle. This, Matt. I think you go against.
I just think you go. I think, barring injuries, I think you play your strongest team possible.
In any of them, you mean in any of those?
I think tomorrow definitely. Like, think of how shite we've had it the last couple of years. Like, imagine if we get through tomorrow and then draw Borough or Port Vale, and you're 2 games away from a championship team or a league one from playing in a major final. Like,
no, what we're like, mate. We get done by Borough or Port.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it's like. Maybe we just need to kind of get out that mindset a bit. Like, it's one of them. Like, we're 7 points clear of the relegation zone. Like, why, in any other circumstances, why would we be worried about that? Like, it's as far. Think back to the Palace game day before we had those points taken off. We were 8 points clear of the relegation zone, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is amazing." We're absolutely fine here. Nothing to worry about this year. Like, now is 1 point make that much of a difference? Like, it just feels like we're not going to have many opportunities like this where we're in a quarter final. We've got a winnable home game, and the momentum is really behind us. Like, it feels like cup competitions and teams that win these competitions or go deep in these competitions. It's so much about momentum and just trying to preserve that momentum and ride the wave of it. And at the moment, we're doing that. Like, I don't know how long it'll last. Like I said, we've got some tough games coming up, but now it just feels like just keep going with it. Like, play your stronger side, get through, and then if we draw Port Vale or Borough, boss, if we draw the Reds, so be it. If we draw Chelsea or Newcastle, I think we could qualify against either of them as well. It's just how
on earth and how long we've known each other that I'm sort of, you're forcing me into your mentality here. But
what are we fans for? Like
don't start with that.
No, but it's not. It's not about.
You can't say that when you've lost 10 points. You can't say that. Any other season, fine. Any other season, I'm with you. Any other season, but
we're 7 points clear of the relegation zone. Like, that's.
All right, hang on. I don't want to go too deep in this, but you've got Sheffield United. They just had their best manager return to them.
They're awful, Dave. They're awful.
Fulham, Ross Barkley's turned into Iniesta at Luton.
Come on.
Burnley will do something at home because I think.
Oh, did you watch them against us? They were absolutely appalling.
Obviously, yeah. But these things aren't over 17 games into a season, mate. They're not over. And it's easy for us to get into that mindset of thinking, oh, just shot that to one side. I mean, you're saying we're safe. I mean, that's so massively short. What's that, 19 games? 20 games, 21 games till we get to that
obviously
stage.
Not safe, but this team doesn't get relegated, even with the deduction. Like, and I think we'll probably get some points back as well. Let's not forget that.
I'm sticking in the middle of it, mate. I'm sticking in the middle of it. It go back to what we were saying there about the teams, which is the most important thing. I go with the best 11. Sorry, the 11 that we had against Burnley, because I thought Godfrey was brilliant. I thought Keane has to start, by the way. I think Keane has to start here, and I'm going to get slated for saying that. But I'll tell you something about him. It took a big set of bollocks for him to perform like he did. Not only because he was going back to Burnley and all that sort of thing, but you think about how slated he's been, you think about how poor he's been in general, you think about he's only got a game because of an injured centre-back. He hasn't got a game because he's in any form whatsoever. He went there and played really well. Scored a half-decent goal. You see him when we scored as well, he was going nuts. Where normally, if a Burnley legend, he just put his head down and walk away like 𝗖𝗿𝗍 did when we scored. And 𝗿𝗏𝗀𝗇 as well. Just throw him straight back in ahead of the 3 that we've got.
I think if 𝗿𝗏𝗀𝗍 is injured, like you could see a back 5 with 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗍, Keane, 𝗿𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗏, McNeil left wing back, Patterson right wing back, and like sort of do similar to what we did at the weekend. But if 𝗿𝗏𝗀𝗍 is 100% fit and can play, I think it's obviously got to be him and 𝗏𝗏𝗏 sort of your front 2, and then I think that means you've kind of got to go back to the back 4 because you kind of run out of players, and then I think it'll be 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗍 and 𝗿𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗏. Like Keane played well, but like I don't think he has to start by any means.
Oh no, he doesn't have to start. I'm just thinking about.
You just said he has to start.
No, sorry, I mean that in the sense of we need fresh to go to Spurs.
Yeah. Right.
That's the only reason I meant with that. You get 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 back in for Spurs. That's the priority I'd go with. And also, Harrison's been shite for the majority of his time with us. Harrison, apart from that good goal he scored against Bournemouth, I think generally he's been really, really poor.
I think he was a bit better at the weekend, to be fair. He had a few,
he held the goal up, didn't he?
Yeah, he worked really hard, and I think he had some nice little moments in the first half where he was like a little pass through to Patterson before 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗍, which was really good.
He's a grafter. He's a grafter that you get, but in terms of quality, I don't think there's enough there. I'd be inclined to look at Dobbin against Fulham in replace of him. I think he's got a lot about him, that kid, and I think after that goal he scored as well, he's just going to be his momentum that's in his how he's feeling, or he's going to be over the moon right now, isn't he? I'd think about putting him in instead of Harrison. Given what I just said about him there, I don't think Harrison's done much for us at all. And like you say, get the grafts recently. You mentioned Beto as well when you'd throw him in over Dom at some point because you give Dom a rest. Would you do that tomorrow?
No, I'd play him on Saturday. I think 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 tomorrow, and then like Spurs high line's mad, isn't it? Like you can just like. I mean, you can just imagine him running in behind and just like having a great time. Not necessarily doing very well, but like just causing a bit of chaos. Like I think if you're going to just launch the ball and try and beat the offside trap, he's probably quicker and better at making those runs than 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, would you say? Like obviously he's not as got the finesse and subtlety as 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, but maybe will give you a better outlet.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. But are you then sort of edging your way towards Spurs being right down at the bottom of the priorities?
Oh yeah, I'd much rather win tomorrow. Much rather win tomorrow.
I don't know if like I say, if you go back to those fixtures, they're massively against us. If you only have one of those 2 big sides, I'd happily agree with you. Just one of them. But the fact it's those 2, then you're going away to Wolves.
Like winning the Spurs would be like good, but like winning the Spurs, like I'd rather be in a cup semi-final.
All right, I'll go even further then. It's like we're playing a game of poker here, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll go even further then. Next 3 Prem games are really solid, right? If I was to say to you we lost those 3 and you've still gone through to the say if you've gone through to the final, you lost the next 3, would you still be happy with that?
Yeah, but I don't think we'll lose the next 3. I think Wolves
are
very good.
I'm saying you lost them 3, so therefore everybody below us has got 3 games in hand effectively if we've lost all 3 of them. Are you still willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice those 3 games?
I still wouldn't be concerned about relegation at all. No.
You still don't think after 3 losses?
No. Like I said, Wolves aren't very good. I don't think we go there and lose.
I don't know. I feel really sorry for Gary O'Neill. I think he's a really nice, really good looking young manager, to be honest with you. But
they looked dreadful on Sunday against West Ham. But yeah nothing to fear. I don't think. Spurs are a mad side.
I haven't felt. Maybe it's my own paranoia here, but or me going typically back to what people used to think of me like for the years that we've done the Blue Room, but I just don't think it's that simple. I don't think it's that straightforward. Look, I'm more than 100% ahead of us tomorrow, but how do I word this? It's what you put back into the energy that you've currently got in the run we've got, having won 4 league games on the spin. I think that's a fair way to put it. Again, when the fixtures comes as well, that's going to be quite a manic January for us, I think. Oh no, they actually spaced them out, don't they? So there'll be one in February.
Well, I'll tell you what, I would sacrifice that Palace game 100% if we get through. Like that, I would
You want
send.
FA Cup
Yeah,
gone then?
I would send if we get through to semi-finals. I would send the kids to that Palace game 100%. Yeah, and
Send the
focus.
kids.
Yeah.
Do you know what, Matt? We'll put at some point we'll put like a poll out on Twitter for this to see. And I look, I pretty concede. I'd concede the fact that you'll get a hell of a lot more people behind what you're saying. But I'm trying
because I'm right. That's why.
I'm trying to explain why I'm probably wrong.
Right. Well, yeah. If you're watching us on YouTube, do that. Leave a comment. Let us know. Are you Team Carabao or Team Avoid Relegation?
This is so unfair. So unfair.
Let us know what you think. Also, subscribe to us as well if you watch us on YouTube. We are working hard to grow the audience on here. Les is doing loads of good stuff coming up as well, which we're recording next week. If you're listening to us on usual feeds, leave us a review, leave us a rating, and let us know what you think on Twitter as well. Are you all in, Carabao chugging all day tomorrow, thinking about winning that cup in February, or do you just want to get to 40 points and have a nice
40 points? I didn't even say that. I mean, he's 40. Disgraceful, Matthew Jones.
People can make their own mind up, can't they? But yeah, no seriousness. It's all positive at the moment. Teams playing really well. And it's good to be talking about which game would you rather win as opposed to I'm scared of losing them all, which is a nice change.
Come back, enjoy your Christmas Day, but come back after that, mate. We'll be all crying after losing a lot of them.
Well, we'll smash City as well. They're rubbish.
Oh, no. Come on now. Come on. No, I was going to ask you, Matt, I know we're going to go soon, but did you have anything that you saw at the weekend to put on you? We normally do the thing at the end of the show.
Do you know what? I didn't really pay much attention to any other footy this weekend. I was just like, obviously we were out for a bit on Saturday, weren't we? I had a few days, so I didn't really see anything else. I think that Liverpool United game was just dreadful yesterday, wasn't it?
Awful. I've two really quick ones. Bellingham looks ridiculous as a top goal scorer, let alone a top midfielder. Unbelievable. Keeps scoring goals. The second one for me involved a former, one of our players on loan, 𝗖𝗿𝗶𝗁𝗍 and Martinez in goal. The biggest, it was such a laugh that they had. I mean, it was so funny. I don't know how either of them didn't come up to each other when they were on the touchline and just had to laugh, really. It was silly. I hope anyone watches it again because it was really good fun.
Two of the biggest shit owls was going.
Absolutely.
It was like a who can be the most pathetic, wasn't it, in the moment?
Yeah.
What was great about Ollie Watkins' celebration? Absolutely love that.
Just pointing at some fella,
singling out a person in the crowd and just screaming in the face. Yeah, got loads of time for that.
But he doubled down on Match of the Day and said,
"Good,
I love that. Would you do it again?" And he said, "Yeah, absolutely, I'd do it again."
Brilliant. Yeah, more of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will wrap it up there. And like I said, comment, all those sorts of things. It all helps. We'll be back tomorrow for instant reaction after the Fulham game in the Denby Castle, which was absolutely bouncing on Saturday. My word, it was flying after that win. So get down there over Christmas if you can when the Blues are playing, and get in there after we beat Man City. It'll be absolutely marvelous. We're up there anyway. Dave looks like he's going to throttle me for being too positive, but I'm carried away. I'm high on Carabao.
There's some imposter in for you, I'm telling you.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. But yeah, up the toppies. We'll speak again soon here on the Blue Room.